Who is this person?
I was just gonna say, who is that?
Yeah, well, we'll risk it. All right, Madam President, we have.
I think it's me coming in on my computer.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the March 16, 2022 CDYCI board meeting. We'll start with a roll call. Bill Connors. Present. Lucille McKnight.
I don't see Lucy.
Not absent. Kristen Swinton.
I'm here.
Thank you. Rensselaer County Laura Bauer present. Scott Bendette. Thank you. Saratoga County, we have Steve Bale present. Greg Warner.
Here.
Steve Bale. Schenectady County, Barbara Morrow.
Barbara's here.
And Samantha Miller Herrera.
Present.
Thank you. Okay, we will start out the meeting with our first action item, and that's a proclamation honoring Stephen R. Bale. A motion to accept that.
So moved.
Thank you, Craig. Do we have a second? Thank you, Bill. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Well, Steve,
Yeah, speech
congratulations.
on your
Steve.
retirement. Yeah, we're dropping like flies on this board.
Well, first we have
Thank
a
you.
nice proclamation. We have a nice proclamation for you, and I can read all the whereases if you'd like. It encapsulates your experience here. And it says, whereas the Capital District Youth Center, Inc., CDYCI, was established to administer a regional juvenile secure detention facility by and serving Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and Schenectady counties. And whereas Stephen Bale was appointed to the Capital Youth Center Board in 2013 by the Saratoga County Board of Supervisors, and has faithfully attended the meetings and participated in the proceedings. And whereas Stephen Bale has served as an officer of the CDYCI and was elected to serve as vice president of CDYCI in 2021. And whereas Stephen Bale has also greatly assisted with the implementation of the Raise the Age law and provided expertise and perspective on the implementation of related policies and procedures. And whereas Stephen Bale has announced his retirement and tendered his resignation to the board, and now therefore be it resolved that the Capital District Youth Center, Inc. does hereby pause in its deliberations on March 16, 2022 to honor and commend Stephen Bale for his 9 years of dedicated service to the communities and citizens of the Capital Region, and be it further resolved that a copy of this proclamation will be provided to Stephen Bale by the CDYCI as a symbol of appreciation. Applause, and then we'll words of wisdom and remarks for us, Steve.
Well, first, can you hear me? Hopefully.
Yes.
And thank you very much for that. It's quite an honor. I've really enjoyed my attending and being part of the board for the last 9 years. It's been kind of exciting to be on that cutting edge and actual, thinking about how to implement the raise the age things in the last few years, different from the probation world. So it's really been a great experience for me. I've enjoyed my association with everybody on the board. I appreciate your patience today and listening to all the whereases. I know having heard those before, not about myself, but others, it does take a little bit of patience. So thank you for that. Otherwise, I just want to say it's been great experience, and thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I'm surprised that the snowstorms didn't make it onto the proclamation, but that's okay. I faithfully, just like a postman would, I guess.
Rain, sleet, snow.
That's right. Yeah.
Dead of night.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Steve, and hopefully you'll get out there to the golf course soon and start working on that handicap.
Yeah, it won't be long. Thanks.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. I want to add also that Steve was the president of COPA, the Council of Probation Administrators for the state, and led us during the pandemic. and did a great job as well. So you're gonna be missed all around, Steve.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. We will go on then to our next item on the agenda, and that is the meeting minutes from January 19th. You should have them in your packet. And is there a motion to accept the minutes? Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Second.
I'll second it. Steve?
Thank you. Any discussion on these? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next item, number 4, financial statements through February 28th, 2022, and that is your memo 2203.
Okay, pretty straightforward. These are financials through the end of February. Total operations expenses for secure detention are just over 280,000, with total expenses for CDYCI being about 290,000. For SSD, not surprisingly, the operations expenses estimated through February are, an order of magnitude higher than the SD side. It's almost 3/4 or 80% higher than the SD side, so at $430,000. And the total expenses there on the SD side are $438,000. We have billed the Q3 2021 use bills, sent those to the counties. We're still waiting on a couple counties, or we have it all in. Did we disperse it to Berkshire?
No, because then there was a problem.
Oh, right. Right. So there was an issue with the Q3 billing. There was a change to the number of bed days assigned to Rensselaer County after we had sent the bills. So OCFS changed JDAS after we sent the bills, and that changes the calculation. So OCFS is now scrambling to figure out how to reconcile those things. And so we won't be able to disperse to Berkshire until we figure out how that's going to be reconciled. Q4 revenues are still pending. OCFS issuing a rate. We are in, we're pleading with them to allow us to charge recruitment costs that Berkshire incurred in 2021 and costs related to liability insurance on the operations side of the budget versus the administration side of the budget, because we're over on our eligible admin expenses for the year by about $14,000. So that's not reimbursable to the counties. So that happened last year, and what we had to do is bill all the user counties their proportionate share of that overage. So we were sort of made whole. So we're trying to avoid that administrative hassle and working with OCFS to see if they can put those expenses on the operations side. So while that's sort of being looked at OCFS, we're still waiting for the Q4 rate. Any questions on the financials? They really only reflect expenses because we have no revenues yet.
No questions? Thank you, Mark. Motion to accept.
So moved.
Thank you, Craig. Second. Have a second?
Second, Steve.
Bill.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. All right, let's go on then to item number 5, facility performance improvement plan.
The PIP and the PGA, it's for player enhancement program, but for OCFS, it's the performance improvement plan. So Berkshire Farm is not unique in being put under a performance improvement plan by OCFS at this point. Voluntary agencies across the state who are experiencing staffing shortages have been under a performance enhancement plan, which essentially amounts to some additional oversight and monitoring by the agency of the operator. And in this case, during a routine inspection of the facility, staff were observed to be out of ratio a number of times, and that's a function of the staffing shortage. And there were also some other issues that were identified, and OCFS asked or required Berkshire to include remedies for those two issues, main issues, staffing and cleanliness in the facility in a performance improvement plan. And so I've attached the plan. And and the letter that OCFS sent to the operator. So Luke, do you want to just hit on a couple highlights of the plan?
Sure. The big part of the plan is the staffing that we noticed, which accounted for a lot of the things going on, not being in ratio. The youth not going to education or recreation as regularly as we wanted to, and not having visitation on the facility, as well as the cleanliness, which our staff were often doing with the kids. So some actions that we've taken, we have offered a lot of incentive pay at the facility for staff to continue to come in to fill shifts. But despite that, we still have a limited number of staff. So what we're doing is every day, 3 times a day, we're reporting to OCFS where our staffing levels are. But not only where our staffing levels are, but also what we're doing to make sure that we're providing education to our youth every single day. And we are providing recreation every day. And making sure also, we're also providing medical information to show that all medical needs of the youth are met every day, every shift. And we're doing that 3 times a day, and we will continue to do that. Recreation has been posted what we are going to do, and we are making sure we get the youth out. We've been using the gym a lot more, but we've been getting creative. One of our assistant directors has been doing calisthenics right in the hallway with the kids. When we don't have no staff, we're making sure that we get the kids out and about and doing things, large muscle exercises. There was also a question about some of the showers and the cleanliness of the showers. A lot of that is attributed to the age of the showers, but we have not been able to get the cleaning that we normally have. So what we have done is we have painted all of the shower stalls with some special epoxy paint to make sure that happens. Berkshire is also bringing in a custodian on every week to do a deep clean of the whole facility. And you'll see in our budget how we discuss that moving forward. And, looking at it in conjunction with our vice president of facilities, that the painting and the constant cleaning is a stopgap until we have the renovations that occur, which should alleviate some of those issues. And also another big concern was visitation, which we did stop during the pandemic and hadn't been started up because we were working with the Albany County Jail and they have not started up their in-person visitation. But for the kids, we have begun visitation. It started 2 weeks ago. We're having it on Wednesday nights, once a week. We did bring families in. So youth are being seen. They can see their families. It's been great to have kids be able to see their families. And as we get more staff, we're looking to expand the visitation more and more, but we are doing it at least once a week now in the facility. And that is also scheduled for tonight. So tonight will be our 3rd visitation.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on the performance improvement plan?
I think there were things that were pointed out that, you have to have a review every once in a while, and your improvements are pretty good. So. Any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda, number 6, and that's facility use.
Great, you see the facility use chart for the first 2 months of the year. And congratulations to Saratoga County for only having 1 SD male in there. Kudos, Steve. And you see the distribution, again, the majority of kids or bed days are for the SSD population. And if you turn to the secure detention daily usage, you'll see that trend line bears out over the course of the last couple of years, 1.5 years or so. And female intake still remains closed. Any questions?
What's the plan for female intakes? I mean, it seems like this meeting, we think it's going to happen soon, but I know Schenectady County is really struggling to find beds for female JDs.
It's really a function of the staffing shortage. Priority number 1 is to get to ratio for the existing population within the facility. And once Berkshire can predictably do that, then they can start looking at opening up female bed space, because again, that takes minimum 2 staffers for the first 2 shifts.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you. Next item, number 7, facility operation agency report.
I talked a lot about things we're doing with the PIP. Some of the things we're doing, some pretty intensive recruiting right now. You may have heard our ads on the radio. Joe's voice out there, as well as some of our assistant directors out there in the community. Recruiting, we're doing a lot of items to bring staff in, and some of that, I think, when we talk about the budget, will be also important to talk about. But I'm going to turn it over to Joe to talk about what we've been doing in the facility and anything he wants to bring up.
Yeah, mostly what we're focused on is, we've had, I think that just this year, the assistant director leave 3 supervisors, a senior detention counselor, a security detention counselor 2, and 4 security detention counselors. Pretty senior staff, but we're looking at recreating our environment and our structure and supervision. So I guess that turnover is kind of expected, but it's been a huge hit for us, as you all know. But we're doing heavily recruiting our staff. We're improving our training plan, our onboarding for when they come in. We have an expedited interview process and onboarding process. Obviously, before we can do much of anything, we need to get us staffed up, and we need to have them trained appropriately so we're comfortable when we set them out on the floor. So we're really heavily working on that. Obviously, there are those times when there are distractions and other things happening and incidences, but we have kept our incidences very low. We have really been creative in getting the youth out of their rooms. Mr. Smith, who came from Goshen Secure, has been out on the floor, bringing the staff out, creating activities for them. We have a rec specialist that we're onboarding currently that can be on the floor, be trained, and at least we can get the youth out of their rooms and get them participating activities. So those are our focuses right now, is getting our staffing in, screening, doing the appropriate screening and training, and getting them on the floor so then we can look at, obviously opening intake when we can get the ratio for females, and then bringing in programming. Last meeting, we mentioned Mr. Wilson was going to be here. Be speaking on Zoom. He will be here today. Not here, I'm sorry, over Zoom. We distributed his book, The Master Plan, to all the residents, the teachers. So they're going to have a conversation in the classroom today that begins at 10 o'clock via Zoom, and then we'll have a follow-up with that as well. So, we're trying to find a balance between getting the staffing in and creating opportunities for the youth. Like today, we have modified education. We've had the teachers going into the activity rooms to work with the youths because we don't have enough to staff in the classroom. So in the activity room, we can have a staff member on the dorm and in the activity room, and that would meet ratio. So we're being as creative as we can, but we also want to maintain the safety. We're fortunate right now, our census is low. We don't have any real risk cases other than one currently who's on suicide watch. So obviously when a youth is on suicide watch, that takes a staff member to be really vigilant and checking on him often. We've had to bring him to the hospital 3 times for ideation, not admitted because, they didn't feel he was appropriate for hospitalization. I don't know that I agree with that. Our psychiatrist that evaluated him thought he should. We don't have the mental health treatment here that this youth requires, but he's a drain on our resources as well. So those are a combination of factors that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and in all of that, trying to just maintain our safety right now.
So thank you, Joe, for your leadership and being creative and thinking about how to deploy the services and the programs, given the limitations, and being an advocate for appropriate mental health services for the youths that are in your charge, even if the others don't agree with you.
Thanks.
Not easy to juggle all that. Thank you very much. Any questions for Joe? Okay. Our next 2 items we're going to take into executive session, so I need a motion to move into executive session.
I'll make a motion to enter into executive session.
Seconded by Scott. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, so how this is going to work, we did it, I think, last time, is I'm going to hit the breakout rooms button. Everyone is going to then get a prompt to say, enter breakout room 1. And then you click the button and then boom, you're in the room. And so we'll if you have any problems, just shoot me an email and let me know. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, looks like the gang's all here. So just in summary of the budget and the interest of transparency, the budget reflects 56% increase to the budget for SD and SSD to meet the requirements of OCFS staffing patterns to maintain ratio and to deploy the program as suggested by OCFS and developed by Berkshire staff.
Thank you, Mark. Motion to approve. Scott, second.
Second.
Craig, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries. Okay, is there any other business? Again, just want to thank Steve for his service and wish him well.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thanks.
And our next meeting is May 18th, 2022 at 9 a.m.
All right, thanks, all.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Oh, motion to
Thank
adjourn.
you.
Motion to adjourn.
Samantha, second.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Scott, seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye.